This is the latest comprehensive update on the United States military casualties in the ongoing operations against Iran. As of this moment, the U.S. Central Command has officially confirmed that 3 United States service members have been killed in action during the current military campaign targeting Iran. These deaths mark the first American combat fatalities in this expanding conflict, which is being carried out under the name Operation Epic Fury, a collaborative offensive conducted by U.S. and allied forces against Iranian military infrastructure and leadership. According to a statement released by the U.S. Central Command, the 3 service members were killed in action amid active combat operations, which have been ongoing since strikes began. In addition to these fatalities, 5 additional U.S. service members were seriously wounded during the same sequence of military engagements. Multiple other personnel sustained minor injuries, including shrapnel wounds and concussions, and are currently in the process of returning to duty following initial treatment. The Central Command's official announcement described the operational situation as fluid, emphasizing that major combat operations continue without pause and that the U.S. response effort remains in full effect. Out of respect for the families of the fallen, the command has withheld additional details, such as the identities of those killed, until at least 24 hours after next-of-kin notifications are complete. This confirmation of fatalities follows a fierce retaliation by Iranian forces in response to sustained U.S. and allied strikes. The initial campaign began with extensive attacks across Iranian territories and strategic assets, and Iran responded with waves of missiles and drone bombardments targeting U.S. and coalition military bases throughout the Middle East region. In Washington, national military leaders have reiterated that the campaign is aimed at degrading Iran's ability to pose a significant threat to American personnel and regional stability. President Donald Trump, addressing the nation following these developments, acknowledged the 3 confirmed U.S. deaths and made clear that further casualties are likely in the days ahead as combat operations persist. He stated that the mission will continue until all announced military objectives are achieved. Military analysts have highlighted that the casualties occurred as part of widespread hostilities triggered by recent strikes that killed high-ranking Iranian leadership. These escalating engagements have drawn swift and aggressive Iranian retaliation, including direct attacks on U.S. bases in Kuwait, Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and other allied locations in the Gulf. Earlier reports from international news agencies and military sources emphasized that the conflict intensified sharply after Israeli and American forces executed a massive joint attack on Iranian strategic positions. That offensive reportedly targeted and eliminated key leadership figures within Iran's military structure, significantly including the country's supreme leader. Iran's response has been far-reaching and systematic, launching missile barrages, Shahed drone strikes, and other aerial assaults on U.S. military infrastructure across the broader region. The deaths of these 3 service members, confirmed by official military sources, underscore the severity of the ongoing hostilities and represent a critical escalation in the broader confrontation. The Pentagon and Central Command have remained deliberately restrained in releasing granular details, citing operational security and family notification protocols. The focus remains on sustaining the mission while managing the evolving combat environment. In addition to the fatalities and serious injuries among U.S. service members, Iran's retaliation has also impacted allied bases and infrastructure throughout neighboring countries. Airspace authorities and military officials in the region are reporting an increase in intercepted missiles and defense responses as the conflict unfolds. The risk to military personnel and assets remains elevated as confrontations across multiple fronts continue. As of this time, the United States military's strategic rationale has been framed around eliminating or significantly degrading threats posed by Iran's missile capabilities, command and control structures, and its network of allied militia forces.
This has included targeting military bases, ballistic missile systems, naval assets, and leadership positions. Beyond the battlefield, the human toll and geopolitical ramifications of this conflict are profound. The casualties among U.S. forces represent not only a military loss, but also a moment of profound national significance as civilians and military families across the United States grapple with the reality of these combat deaths. Memorials, condolences from political leaders, and national mourning have been underway, with further statements expected as additional information becomes available. Family members and next of kin have been notified in accordance with military procedures, and the identities of the fallen are being withheld at this time to respect those notifications. Military protocol requires that next of kin are prioritized before public disclosure of service members' names, and this process is ongoing. Officials within the Department of Defense and allied military leadership have made clear that combat operations will not cease until strategic objectives are met, regardless of the growing casualty count. This commitment has been reiterated in multiple official statements, confirming the continuation of the mission and the likelihood of further engagements and potential casualties. While the death of 3 American service members has dominated headlines, it is important to note that there have also been extensive casualties reported on all sides of this conflict. Iranian civilian and military fatalities number in the hundreds according to early tallies, and several allied nations have reported injuries or damage to critical infrastructure as retaliation and counterattacks continue. The overall situation remains highly volatile, with diplomatic channels largely suspended as military activities intensify throughout the region. Leaders from multiple countries have called for de-escalation, but on the ground, combat operations remain active and ongoing. The U.S. Central Command continues to publicly report that its forces are engaged across multiple theaters, with the distinct objective of neutralizing imminent threats and preventing further escalation that could draw in additional nations. In summary, the confirmed deaths of 3 U.S. service members and the serious injuries of several others mark a significant and sobering chapter in the current military campaign against Iran. These events illustrate both the immediate human costs of modern warfare and the complexity of sustaining a prolonged military campaign in a highly contested environment.